The Hideaway. The stories are as mysterious as we are.
Welcome to a new chapter of the story. Chapter 4.
The Stateroom.
Author Charles Pendelton. After the vortex had ended, Bobby picked up the stateroom key and proceeded to walk down a long white corridor until he and the talking cats came to a bronze wall. Looking up, he realized it had to be at least 50 stories high, but only 12 feet wide. The dimensions were not logical. "What am I to do?" asked Bobby. "Put the ring on your middle finger," replied Max. "It's too big. Just do it." As Bobby placed his finger inside the ring, it was like a car going through a tunnel. The ring size would have been ridiculous for an adult, let alone a child of average height and weight. But as he watched, the ring shrank, snugly fitting to a perfect size 4. Now, with the key in his hand, Bobby stood frozen, his mind racing with what-ifs. Who knew what was really behind that door? Was it worth the risk? There was only one way to find out. As Bobby shoved the sapphire key into the opening and turned it with all his strength, a harsh crunch echoed through the air. But the key shattered in the process, leaving nothing behind but splintered fragments that quickly dissolved on the ground. When the enormous door to a land unseen by most began to slowly creak open, Max and Maya tap-danced on their hind legs while patting each other's paws like they were on a TV commercial in 1967, emphasizing the need for families to take a relaxing vacation. Greetings, Max, Maya, and of course our new visitor, Bobby Bristol. "How does he know my name?" whispered Bobby. "We know everything, young man," said the gatekeeper in a whimsical tone. As they entered the stateroom, little Bobby was starstruck. "In recognition of our colossal achievement, we hereby welcome you to the dining area." In a room the length of Utah, no one could fathom the monthly cost of that electricity bill. The clamorous shouting mixed in with the clinking of silverware against glasses was deafening. Bobby Bristol was urged to take a seat next to the Franciscan friar, who bowed his head for a moment of prayer. "All is well. That is true. Forget the past. Let's start anew." Then, with a wave of his mighty hand, the table that stretched from the beginning of the room to its very end was overflowing with an abundance of food. The smell of meatloaf lingered in the air, surrounded by the insatiable aroma of mashed potatoes, bathed in Irish butter. It was more than Bobby could have ever hoped for. "Eat, drink, and be merry," shouted Le Maire du Côté Nord de la Salle, the mayor of the north side of the room, while raising his glass for a toast. "Today we welcome a new visitor to our table. May the peace of Almighty God be upon you as you partake in the delight of an exquisite feast. And never forget that only through change can a caterpillar become a butterfly, and a woman supply life to an entire universe of men who shall indeed be labeled worthy." "But I don't have any money," said Bobby. "Have you ever heard the expression, 'time is money'?" questioned Zsofia of Veszprém, who was born during the reign of the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand III. "No," replied Bobby through the clatter and chatter. "Well, that's all you need, and here you'll have plenty of it." As Bobby sat down, he ate everything he could and more, foods he never would have dreamed of trying at home. The gentleman sitting next to him, who was from medieval France, said, "There is nothing better than being in a place where you can eat anything in sight and not gain a single pound." "I agree," replied Bobby, eating his fair share of the beets and asparagus before indulging in the succulent duck, the taste of which was far beyond anything he could have imagined. After the engorging, Giovanni di Pietro di Bernardone, the Franciscan friar, better known as Francis of Assisi, arose from his chair. "As we have so wholeheartedly joined together in mirth, so shall we in sorrow, for the days of our shortcomings are nothing more than a fault of being human." He waved his hand once more, and desserts of every type adorned the table. In this new and inviting land, those who are found guilty of malicious deeds will be banished to a place called Zimmer der Verdammten.
In the past, there were many maniacs wandering freely amongst us. But when the moment of evil from which there can be no turning back arises, that is when necessary action must be taken to ensure the vile creatures are restrained and renamed by number. In this paradise of ours, there is room for every man, woman, and child. Everyone will be given what they desire, but when a perverse yearning to do unspeakable harm threatens the very balance of our complex order, then the rules that have been established shall be set in motion, as you will soon witness. It has come to my attention that 7 people at this table are guilty of heinous crimes that have been committed within these walls. Bring them forward. Yes, sire. As the men were escorted into a materialization room where they would soon appear before Francis of Assisi, they were called out by name and deed. Joseph Renning, guilty of battering Jennifer Wales to death with his fists. Mark Pedersen, guilty of slaughtering James Calderon with a butcher's knife. Timothy Simmons, guilty of murdering 7 children by strangulation. Franklin Brown, guilty of throwing Patricia Ward from atop the Post building. Clancy O'Donnell, guilty of slashing the throats of 3 patients in Utery Hospital. Dennis Martin, guilty of murdering bartender Theory Lewis in the Brine Hotel. Jake Dasher, guilty of drowning Catherine Sparrow and her 5 siblings. The men were brought forward from different sectors of the stateroom. Here each of them was led into a separate chamber under the main floor. As the trapdoor was slammed closed and locked, the cast-iron key disintegrated. "What happens to them now?" asked Bobby. Guard number 3 responded, "They will live out their days in isolation with the full effective time ever present." After the feast, Bobby followed Max and Maya out of the stateroom. "Come," said Maya, "we're going to show you where you will be staying." "Staying? I have to get home before my mom and dad start to worry." "Trust me, Bobby, they are not worrying," replied Maya with a snicker. "I'm serious." "Okay," said Max, "do you want the quickest or the slowest route back?" "The quickest," replied Bobby. "I was afraid he would say that," said Maya with a wicked glimmer. Then up the winding staircase to the roof they went. Let us know how you felt after listening to the story in the comments. To listen to the story of Chapter 5, stay with us by subscribing to our channel and watch the next videos. Thank you.